Hello and welcome to Season 8.
Yes!
20 months later.
Thank God.
Here we are. Welcome. We're recording at your house for the first time.
Yeah, because I know that everybody's been asking, what's the other Ben's house like? And the answer is not as cool.
It's smoke-free.
It's smoke-free.
So that's unfortunate.
Smaller TV.
Right.
No reclined seating.
Pinker couch.
Pinker couch.
But, you know,
free couch. Mine was free.
Free couch. Mine was not. But that's okay. So we will get back to our smoking ways next week.
Next week,
But we're slightly non-traditional. Though you did just show me that you have purchased a nice cigar for the finale.
Yes,
so we're even branching out beyond pipes this season.
Right.
And I am beer-free this week because it's middle of Lent, or actually the end of Lent. I gave up beer for Lent, so instead I'm drinking Game of Thrones, White Walker.
That's a smart move by Johnny Walker. Smart move.
It was. It was.
mean,
and it's not terrible.
Well, yeah.
That's what. I mean, I like Scotch a lot, but I don't usually drink Johnny Walker.
Right, because you're a person.
I'm a person. I have standards. But for a $30 bottle of Scotch,
Right.
it's good. Usually, Scotch, I'm kind of like 60 and above is what you need to spend.
Yeah, if you spend less than that, it's not worth it.
Yes, but you're going to be double fisting it. So
I am. So tonight, I'm going to have a little Scotch, and then I'm also going to have this barrel-aged Libertine out of Fulton here in Minneapolis.
Which is delicious.
Right. And if you catch the bottle number, they only made 4,000, and this is $39.39. So this is
very nice.
One of the last ones. So I'm excited. I've had the regular Libertine before, but I've not had the barrel-aged. So
I didn't give you very much. I'll give you a little more.
Yeah, jeez, man. I'll share my beer with you next week, okay?
Wow. Okay. Well,
that was
might
plenty.
kill you.
All right.
Libertine actually always makes me think of you. Do you know why?
Why?
Because the very first time I had it, which was actually right after they came out with it, was your bachelor party.
That's right. We went to Fulton.
We went to Fulton.
Yeah.
And it was their brand new beer that was out there. It was Libertine. So I always associate it with you, and now I don't get to have any. Till next week.
Let me tell you how it is. Delicious.
I'm sure it's delicious. Here, I can smell it. If that's not too weird.
It's a little weird.
But
I know somebody who doesn't drink, but she smells your beer.
I mean, different strokes for different folks.
No, it's just not.
So, 5 weeks from tonight, Game of Thrones.
May 19th.
A Song of Ice and Fire, the series I've been reading since 2001.
Correct.
Will be over. I mean, the books won't be over, but we have an ending to this story.
Which we're assuming is the same ending as the books, just told in a different way.
I'll be honest with you, for the first time, I'm starting to have my doubts.
You think George is like, you know what, I want to do this instead? He's had to have had the end in mind since he started writing.
I think he's had the end in mind, but I just think I don't necessarily know that we're ever going to see the books. Which is depressing. Which is really depressing.
You know what theory that I brought up with a friend a couple of weeks ago was that the books are done, but he wants to die first. Because he doesn't want to live with everything that's going to happen afterwards. Good or bad. Probably bad, because when is a book series ended that's not controversial? Well,
see, I could buy that he's waiting till the show is done. And that book 6 is secretly finished. I could buy that, but I don't think 7 is done. And I have my doubts about if we'll ever see it. But that's depressing. But what's not depressing is that we have 5 more episodes now to go.
Yeah.
And we are going to actually have an ending. The other thing, before we get into the episode, I was going to bring up is that my work is actually doing a Game of Thrones pool.
Now, did you put the pool together?
I did not.
Okay.
Where you can guess over a number of characters, are they going to live, die, or for double or nothing, die and become a White Walker. So we'll kind of keep track of this as we go. So far, nobody on here died this week. But there are 3 additional bonus questions at the end that we went through a little bit before the show started. So I put in 2 different ballots because that was the limit. So I went to the one I really thought, and then I went a little wonky on one of them. So, is Dany pregnant? Is one of the questions. I answered yes on both of them. Who kills the Night King?
Bran.
That's what I said on my what I really think one, and then I put Jon on for the other one. And then who holds the Iron Throne at the end?
Somebody stupid. Not like they're stupid, but just somebody lower right now. Like, I mean, you're talking your Gendry, your Sansa, your
There's no way Gendry's going to be on the throne.
If Sansa and Arya are both dead, Gendry technically is Robert Baratheon's son.
Yeah, but he's a bastard.
Yeah, but if he's all that's left...
That's true. You were anticipating bloody times.
I am anticipating there being one character at the end.
And so you were saying Arya during the episode. So is that who you're going to go with?
No,
because I feel like we're still relatively safe making this prediction after one episode.
I'll go with Sansa.
Sansa? So I put Dany.
Yep.
But then, on my more random ballot, I wrote no one. So the Iron Throne's abolished or destroyed or whatever.
7 individual kingdoms.
Or there's some new monarchy established, but that the Iron Throne ceases to exist in any meaningful way. And actually, the more I think about it, that might be the most likely case.
Yeah. There were some hints dropped tonight that would favor what you said.
Yes. Such as? I didn't pick up on any, so do tell.
Oh, well, I liked Yara. Is that her name in the show?
Yes.
Okay. Yara's line that that Dany would need a place to go.
Oh, right. The Iron Islands.
Yep. Which, why would she say that if she didn't have to?
Right.
So if Winterfell falls...
Which it's going to.
Right.
But we'll get there.
Right. But then we get to a point where there's a lot of, I don't know, variables where nothing's ever going to be the same again anyways.
Right.
So why bother repairing it?
Yep.
And there's going to be like 1,000 people total in
exactly
the entire kingdom.
So even though that's not what I put on my... what I really think ballot, I think that's what I'm going to go with here on the show, is that nobody will be on the Iron Throne. It's not going to exist.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's get to the episode, which was a 2-location episode.
Which was nice.
It was.
Especially... how many other locations are there?
There's not a lot left.
Name another. The Wall.
Everybody
left the Wall.
You're going to have the Iron Islands, right? And we're retreating from the Wall.
We're not there yet. Yeah,
we're not there yet. But let's talk with the credits first, because they seem to me that they redid a lot of the credits. Not just, I know we're used to location shifting, but it seemed like maybe they'd upped the technology or graphics. There was some stuff in the credits that was a little bit more spiffy than what we're used to.
What I noticed that was interesting, and you have the English degree, so you can figure it out from here, but they showed... Typically what they've done is they've done a flyover.
Right.
Where they're showing us from the top and looking over everything.
Mm-hmm.
But instead we got an inside look at everything.
That's true.
And so we're looking at it like as a regular person would the rest of it. So is that... I don't know,
is that thematically significant?
Right,
well,
to this season.
Yeah, it could be. You start with the hole in the wall, which was exciting. But then you're right. We go down into the crypts. We see, we end the throne room with King's Landing. I thought it was a nice touch that the whole giant map Cersei had painted last season shows up in the credits. So there was a lot of stuff, but that I hadn't thought of it that way. So that's a nice touch. All right, so should we take care of the King's Landing stuff first, since that was the shortest?
Short and doesn't. Well, it's not significant, but
no. Well, first, general thoughts on this episode. You seem to want more people dead.
I assumed that with 6 episodes, instead of our usual 10, that we were just going to hit the ground running, that there would be some small skirmish and Grey Worm is just gone. Like that's the start of the entire thing.
Thank God for that. No, based on the preview for next week, we have to get in one more Grey Worm and Missandei subplot before they.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a dick. Like, why are we wasting time on romance when he doesn't have a dick? Like, does Varys need a love interest? No, he doesn't. It's it's ridiculous. It's not different.
Humanizing him.
He's still a human.
He's a.
It's just that's true. That's true. All right. So yeah, to me, this was exactly what I expected this episode to be.
Yeah, I mean, in the back of my mind, I knew that this was just going to be the first episode of every season is exactly the same.
Right.
We're recapping, we're tying up the knots that we left, and now we're starting new strings. Kind of.
But I also appreciated after a lot of the issues in season 7 with we're just throwing geography out the window. It's like Tormund and Beric and all those guys are taking time to get from the Wall to Winterfell. It's going to take them, based on the preview, they're going to be there next week. But it's taken them a whole episode and a half to get there. And so I like that we only have 6 episodes, but we're not just going to throw the laws of physics out the window like we did last season.
Right.
So I don't know. I have a feeling that probably a lot of people are going to be like, that was too slow for only 6 episodes left. But, it's setting up. And think of, we're going to get to all the reunions and first-time meetings and just so many of our major players who haven't been talking to each other are there together.
There's plenty of time for everybody to die.
Right up till the final shot of this episode. It's just, you don't want to rush that stuff. So this season, more than any other, is going to be very difficult, I think, to judge individual episodes as you watch them. Obviously, if we're 5 more episodes in, or and we're still just everybody just getting to know each other, then there's going to be room for criticism on these early episodes. Right. But if what seems like it's going to happen is we are going to start to pick up the pace, I'm perfectly fine with this episode being what it was, especially considering if you think of that, we've had to wait 20 months, but people in the future are watching just as one continuous story, and you just come off of the breakneck season 7. It doesn't hurt to have a slowdown episode.
Right.
All right, so King's Landing.
Yes.
First we have Qyburn and Cersei, and I'm sure shocking to everyone, Cersei is actually planning on letting the White Walkers kill everybody in the north without riding up to meet them.
I'm still trying to figure out what her end game is.
Well, she's got 2 enemies. Let them kill each other, and then she's got her Golden Company army.
That's not... I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. That's why everybody's left her. Right? I mean, it's just like...
Well, I'm going to stand up for her strategically. Not morally, but strategically. Because, you're right, if it's a wholesale slaughter, the White Walkers come in and they, kill everybody without losing anybody, you haven't done yourself any favors. But if there's massive losses on both sides, which, given the quantity of dragon glass they're building in Winterfell, and the fact that there's dragons seems likely, then she has significantly reduced her number of enemies on both sides. Where she's kind of screwed, potentially, where she's taking a gamble, it's dragons. That unless the dragons all kill each other, you're going to have at least one, probably more, coming at you from whatever is left over from the northern skirmish. So she's taking a risk. But she hates everyone. So
she does hate everyone.
Everyone.
Her own brothers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not convinced of that. I think that might be Qyburn's little...
Just his deal with Bronn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's start... So we started... Okay.
So Cersei and Qyburn have their deal. The most obvious plot twist in the world, she's going to betray everyone. Right. Even the other characters have almost all figured this out at this point. Which is pretty fantastic. Which I like. I actually respect the show that they're not trying to treat that as a big revelation. It's like, of course she's going to do this.
That's just her
MO. Then the Ironborn show up. If there was somebody who was going to die in this episode, I thought it was going to be Euron. And the sooner the better, in my opinion, because he continues to be a terrible villain.
Yeah, he's really bad. I still cannot... I watched season 7 a couple of weeks ago just to get ready for this, and him at the Dragon Pit scene still pisses me off.
Right.
Just die. Just get it over with.
Right. It's for a show that is known for its sophisticated, deep, morally gray villains, or even when they're not morally gray, like Joffrey or Ramsay, they're just so sadistic they stick in your memory.
He's just an asshole.
He's a cartoon character, right?
Right.
Yeah. So he's not worthy of the show. So the sooner we kill him and move on with our lives, the better.
Yep.
Which seems like it's going to be soon. I don't see him and Cersei's marriage or romance really taking off.
I'll give it an episode, maybe 2.
I thought... I wasn't convinced he was going to get out of the bedroom on this one. Yeah, so Euron and Cersei are doing their thing now, but I think we all agree that's not going to be...
Correct.
That's not going to last. And then we get to Bronn in King's Landing. So Bronn is also doing his thing when he is interrupted by Qyburn and sent to go assassinate Jaime and Tyrion.
I think that that's a Qyburn thing. I don't think that Cersei directed him to do that.
Really?
I mean, it sounds like something she would do.
It does.
But it seems super set up. I'm not convinced. Well, I'm not convinced that he'll do it. And I'm not.
Well, that's a completely separate issue of whether or not he'll do it.
Right.
I don't think he'll do it. I mean, but it's going to be the plot thread in the season that's a little bit annoying every time it comes up.
Right.
Because it's obviously what they've decided that Bronn is going to be doing, and it's how we're going to get him into the rest of the plot. And
they could just, have killed him off and been done.
Yeah,
maybe Bronn's the one on the Iron Throne.
It could be. Could be. Let me see. I predicted that Bronn lives on my random... I split the vote on Bronn.
Lives and dies.
Lives and dies. Oh, I could really see that one going either way.
Right.
Yeah, I hope it's like middle of next episode that he's up at Winterfell and then just decides to join the fight, and then we move on from that storyline, because I think it's inevitable that we all love Bronn. We all know he's got a heart of gold.
Just needs a reason to be up there.
Exactly.
Is that about what this is?
I think so.
All right.
I think so. But then maybe the best part of all the King's Landing stuff was Theon coming back.
Yeah, that's pretty badass of him.
It was. It was.
Thank God.
I mean, I don't blame Yara for headbutting him, because...
No. I would have waited until we were on our own ship, because you didn't know where anybody was.
This is true.
So maybe get off the ship before you start hurting somebody.
Right, but he was kind of the reason she was captured in the first place, so...
Yeah, but... alright, whatever.
And he's heading back to Winterfell.
Yeah.
Where, that's a bold move, too.
There's a lot of people there that do not like that man.
That's true. But he's got a lot of company at Winterfell for people who don't like him, as we'll get to in a minute. But, you gotta love Theon's arc. I was watching recap videos this afternoon, and it's like, not that I'd forgotten his storyline, but, you see it where he just goes from this asshole and this evil guy, you just hate what he's doing. Right. He takes over Winterfell, and he, pretends to kill Bran and Rickon and all of this stuff, and then his torture, and now he's genuinely become a good man and wants to go and do the right thing. And I think that once all of the dust settles in terms of the plot threads will ultimately be what this show is known for, is the character arcs that it's managed to have, and they're very impressive. Mm-hmm. All right, anything else at King's Landing? The mountain's still purple.
Still purple. Taking steroids, found out today. Saw an article about that.
Oh, no!
I know.
Well, he's a big man. So.
Well, yeah, I think we just kind of assume that people that large are doing that.
Probably.
Whatever. Anyways.
Alright, so in Winterfell, everybody shows up. Dany and Jon and the Hound and Gendry and Tyrion and Varys and dragons. Everybody's here. The gang's all here.
Yay!
And it's not one big happy family.
What?
Season 8 is shaping up to be a cat fight between Sansa and Dany.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. Somebody will do something. Somebody will, stop an arrow or...
No. I don't think they will figure it out, actually.
No?
I'm convinced... So here's what I think is going to happen. Ultimately, I think... I'm still sticking with my theory from the past that Sansa becomes the new Cersei. She's essentially the evil Machiavellian queen at the end of all of this. Second, I don't think that Jon is going to follow through on claiming his role as Aegon Targaryen and the king. He'll pass on that. Sansa gets word of it, and she will rebel on his behalf, which will start off a whole thing. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen here. I also think it's interesting that Arya describes Sansa as the smartest person she's ever met. Not entirely earned in the show, but you can see what they're setting up there.
Yeah, I like that, because that line does make you think that, okay, you're the new...
Right.
You're the new Cersei, because Cersei's always the smartest person in the room.
Uh-huh. It's like, Arya, you've met a lot of people. I don't know if I'd put Sansa at the top of that list, but whatever. It's significant to what they're setting up.
Right.
Bran and Jon have their reunion. I love the line of, "You're a man now." Almost. Well,
I passed that point.
Right. He's not really he's not really a man anymore, and I'm pretty sure we will see him time traveling at some point. There's got to be some connection between Bran and the Night King.
Something is, yeah. We have to have some sort of backstory to set up the epic ending to the series. Yeah.
Right. We have the Banners are supposed to retreat to Winterfell, which we understand isn't going terribly well because everybody's upset that Jon is no longer the king of the North. He's now Dany's bitch.
Right. Well, just the Umbers didn't come, right?
No, they had the...
the Glovers didn't come.
The Glovers didn't come. You had Lyanna Mormont or whatever her name is.
She's there. She's
upset.
Yeah.
And so... people are upset about the dragons, and so you get the sense that between Sansa and Dany's cat fight and all of that things are going to come apart at the seams pretty quick.
Right.
Which, to me, it's fairly obvious more or less what's going to happen. The Night King's army is going to show up at Winterfell. They're going to win, and the whole Northern Alliance comes across apart at the seams in the aftermath.
Sure.
Which I would assume that next week is when we have the fight at Winterfell, and then the week after is we get the aftermath of all of that.
Right.
Tyrion and Sansa was a great moment, I thought.
Yeah, that was good.
And that's part of what, I did like about this episode a lot, is that you have all of these meetings, and even people who've met before, it's like, oh, when did they last talk? Oh yeah,
they were still married.
They were still married when that happened, and you get all of this history that all this water under the bridge, and you think of where Sansa was, where Tyrion was, and everything that's happened. I mean, that was pre-trial. That was Joffrey.
Joffrey's still alive.
Exactly. Well, kinda.
But they didn't talk after.
They did not talk. Right. So that was a good moment, and Tyrion seems to be the only one who actually trusts Cersei at this point, which seems a little odd.
Something's amiss there. He's lost his mojo, it seems.
It does, a little bit. Maybe wishful thinking on his behalf to not have his sister betray the entire human race, but
Right, but you also have to realize that that's your sister, and that's what's going to happen.
That's right. That's what she does.
Right.
Maybe my favorite reunion, though, except for maybe the final one. But I loved Arya and Jon seeing each other again. I mean, that was just great.
Right.
Have you used needle at all, Arya?
Just a few times. Once or twice.
Once or twice.
That's
purely in self-defense.
Yes.
Not assassinating people. So there's a lot unspoken there that's going to come out. But even outside of setting up future plot points, just a great moment, I thought.
Yeah.
And well done to the show for not taking all of these reunions and just kind of letting them be what they are. Not trying to make them, the big cliffhanger at the end of an episode, except for the Jamie and Bran one, which is a little bit of a different category.
Right.
Not being this whole, oh my gosh, can you believe they're seeing each other again? It's just, it's the moment, and we move on. And I thought that was well done.
Yep.
Davos wants Jon and Dany to get married.
I'm surprised he's the first person to say that.
Yeah, he might be the last as news starts to leak out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where the whole aunt and nephew storyline goes.
Right.
Jon doesn't seem too keen to do anything with it.
No.
I already suggested I think Sansa's going to find out, and that'll help tear things apart. But if they are trying to set up a potential marriage between Jon and Dany, Targaryens did intermarry.
So it's not unheard of.
It's not unheard of. Right.
They already have a baby on the way.
I'm sure they do. Which we didn't get any confirmation one way or the other.
I don't think we would. She would. How would she know?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. They did take another shot at it, too, in the caves, which, that was an interesting moment with the dragons watching there.
Right.
You don't have a dog.
I don't have a dog.
But anybody
the reason I don't have a dog is because of that scene.
Anybody who does have a dog, that scene felt a little familiar. In maybe some ways that you're not entirely comfortable discussing. But that was a moment. So the dragons aren't eating, but they are flying.
Don't use all your energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. They don't like the cold.
Don't use all your budget. I mean, this is $90 million budget.
To be fair, we probably won't see it. It's dark next episode. Think about that.
That's true.
So just the shots of flame is really all they need.
This is true. This is true. But yeah, it was a nice scene having Jon ride the dragon, and there was a whole deal, at least in the books. I forget how much of this translated into the TV show. It maybe a little bit less now that Viserion's one of the Night King's dragons, but there was a whole prophecy in the books of the dragon has 3 heads, and who are the 3 dragon riders going to be, and Jon was always a heavy pick, along with Tyrion, I think, for the other 2 outside of Dany.
Yeah.
So Tyrion seems like he's probably going to lose out on his dragon, unless, who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
That is what it is. Lots of dragon glass.
Lots. They're doing stuff. They're trying to get it ready because apparently next week's the big battle.
Right.
Which...
they have to do something to make the battle actually be competitive.
Right.
Because you don't have a wall anymore.
Right. And, yeah, Winterfell with 500 men, apparently...
It ain't going to cut it.
And they also wouldn't be able to stay the whole winter there anyway, as Sansa said. So they're going to have to move south regardless of what happens.
Right. Things are going to go badly.
Right.
Another good reunion shortly after the Dragon Glass forging scene was Arya and the Hound.
Yep.
They haven't seen each other for quite a while.
Right. Season 2?
No. It was end of season 4, I think. When Arya leaves him for dead after he fights Brienne.
Season 4? Okay.
Which, speaking of Brienne, she did show up in the background this week.
Yes, she was there.
Yeah, the gang's all here.
And she will talk next. Well, no, because now that he's back, then they'll talk. Yeah.
Right. Oh yes, Tormund. But we'll get to him in a second. So we have the whole tension. We talked about it a little bit for the King of the North with Jon and everything. But maybe the scene that was so close to being really, really dark comedy was the whole Sam and Dany scene.
We were both laughing out loud.
It was pretty funny. It's like, you could almost see the SNL sketch version of this, where he just keeps listing different relatives. It's like, well, actually, your mom, your grandpa, your second cousin.
Oh, okay. But it's weird because he hated both of them and has described how much he hated them.
Well, I think he hated his dad more than Dickon.
Yeah.
But, yes, it was, it's like, well, at least I'll be able to go home and see Dickon now.
Like,
well, actually...
Like, well, they had to set it up that way. I mean,
yes.
how else is he going to find out? And
I mean, they didn't play it for laughs, but it was very funny.
They played it for laughs. They
meant it to be a serious...
No, they knew we were going to be chuckling.
Well, I think tonally the scene wasn't done comedically, but it was hilarious. It was
fair. I'll give you that.
Very funny. So, yes, you thought Sam was going to go kill himself at this point.
I was like, we need a death. Maybe he's going to go do it.
So you're going to get your deaths. You're going to get your deaths.
All right.
Just, we killed the Umber at the end. That's going to be enough.
Oh, I want to come back to that at the end, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. At the end, actually.
All right, shut up. Let's go.
Bran and Sam, they decide they're going to go tell John another nice Bran line. He doesn't get a lot to talk, but he's got some good lines.
He's got a professor, he's got a Yoda feel to him.
I am not your brother. Oh, let's not even talk about Star Wars, unless you want to talk about Star Wars.
Well, I'm just saying he has a Yoda feel.
Like, did you watch that trailer?
I don't want to talk about it right now.
We'll
do an after show of the trailer.
Shit. It's just how to kill Star Wars. They're trying so hard to make sure nobody likes Star Wars anymore. Alright, but anyway, we only got a few things left, so we'll get to Star Wars shortly. John and Sam go down into the crypts. Sam, I guess, was hiding there.
No, I think Sam fell down the stairs.
Oh, he did? I missed
It sounded like he said, oh! Like, it sounded like he fell. Like he tripped over something.
So, I know I'm not supposed to be down here, but that's not your dad. It was a good moment.
It's a Sam way to introduce that topic.
So what does John do with this information?
Well, first of all, let's point out that John was very accepting of the information.
Was he? He just kind of did his John look.
No, but if somebody told me that my dad wasn't really my dad, he knew deep down that Ned was not really his dad.
Right.
He knew at some level that things were not quite right.
Well, even his whole defense. Well, he'd never lie to me. He was so honorable. It's like, well, that's kind of a double bind.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So, I think he kind of knew all along, and he's just trying to process that information.
I agree.
As best that a Northerner can.
Agreed. My guess is he decides he doesn't believe it, and then we do a whole bunch of, for the next 2 episodes, we're going to have a back and forth with him.
Right, until Sansa finds out. And then
and then it blows up and blah, 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 and becomes whatever it becomes at the end of it.
Right.
Alright, then we get to the final sequence with Tormund and Beric, and so the Night's Watchmen and all of that. This was pretty good, I thought.
I thought it was a great scene. I love that scene. I liked Beric, knowing he has 0 lives left, still deciding to lead the charge into the dark. And Tormund's just like, alright, yeah, I guess I'll follow this guy, because I'm not, he's too scared to go in there. And,
exactly. Well, I guess this wasn't the final scene, but yeah, well...
it's close enough.
It's close enough. But yes, and then we have kind of the aliens moment of... I always think of like Aliens, where they go down and all the survivors are glued to the wall, and then the chest burster comes out of the one girl.
Never.
You've never seen Aliens?
No.
Good God, what's wrong with you? You've never seen Aliens?
When would I have seen it? I don't know.
Well, I don't know, maybe when you're watching Star Wars, instead you can watch one of these.
I just got such stuff.
Everybody else, Aliens. It's the scene where the lady's glued to the wall, the chest burster comes out.
Great.
But I guess that this whole symbol we've been seeing all along, is back on the wall, except with arms. Is that just supposed to be the Night King's sigil? That's kind of how it looked.
You know what? So when they lit it on fire, this is why I wanted to come back to it. If you light it on fire like that, my memory triggered the Targaryen dragon symbol quite vividly, with the wings and everything very curved, and everything is very... And so that's what it triggered in my head.
Okay.
When it was all lit on fire. And so is there some sort of relationship between White Walkers and Targaryens.
Well, they are ice and fire, right?
Well, and the fact that Targaryens went out, and now the White Walkers are starting to take their claim because we do not have this balance of ice and fire.
All right, here's crazy theory for you.
Yeah.
Is that the Targaryen, as long as the Targaryen dynasty is alive, I'm picking up on what you're saying, that the White Walkers are kept down. As soon as the Targaryen dynasty starts to go away, that doesn't happen. But the Targaryen dynasty has to be pure. So incest is the secret to defeating the White Walkers. It's gross, but it's plausible.
That would be a bittersweet ending.
There's a reason we did it. Incest is the key to everything.
That would be a... God. What state is George R. R. Martin from?
New Mexico.
That's close. That's not that far away.
Not that far. He's definitely
Texas.
south.
You gotta cross Texas.
You do have to do that. He's not from the south. He's south, but not the south.
Right, he's more west. He's from the west.
This whole series has just been a secret defense of incest the whole time.
Oh, God.
Doesn't it feel a little plausible, though?
Oh,
like it's the grossest fan theory?
It's a little plausible. I think that you took it a different way than it could be taken by...
I did take it a different way.
You did.
But then this would be how we can all have Danny and John still get together and feel good about it.
How do we not feel good about it now?
Because their aunt and
but they're not really.
They are really genetically, which is where that really counts.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we living in the world? Are we living in...
I'm just saying that if you're raised with somebody who you're not really related to...
I know.
Right. So, it's just a way for us to all get over that icky feeling and be happy about them getting together.
Yeah. Kind of.
That's my theory. That's what I'm going with. Incest will save the day.
I think... If you stop with my theory and just kind of...
Your theory naturally leads to my theory. It's just...
No.
It does.
No.
100%
Yeah,
applies.
well, okay. My theory leads to your theory. It also leads to 1,000 other branches that are not that.
Well, yes, there is that.
There is that. You're correct. You are correct. There is that.
There
is the 999 other theories.
I just, it's possible. People can comment and let me know why they think what I came up with is just brilliant.
That's not what they could comment about.
And disgusting, but insightful. All right. Finally, Jaime arrives, and who is sitting there waiting for him but Professor X himself, Bran Stark.
Did he move the whole episode? Does he eat anymore?
I don't know.
I'm surprised he's not next to a weirwood tree, like something growing.
He's almost a man. He's not a man. He's almost a man.
Right. Well, so is he working his way? I'm surprised we haven't seen him in the weirwood forest more.
Well, but yeah, we will eventually.
He'll
that's
just
probably
go out there
right.
and just,
No, he's going to become the three-eyed raven.
Who is attached to a weirwood tree.
Correct.
Right. Why not the one in Winterfell?
Well, he has to time travel back to the one north of the wall.
Oh, I'm not ready for that.
It's going to be wild.
I don't think a lot of viewers of this show are ready for that.
No. But,
And that's going to throw... It's going to have to be... Well...
Between that and the whole incest saves the day plot line, it's going to be a wild, wild final episode.
They're going to leave it all for the last episode because they're like, you know what, everybody's canceling their subscription tomorrow anyway.
Right.
So let's just let it all hang out.
When they sat down with Martin for the what's going to happen talk, they said he had two things he told them that absolutely shocked them. One of them was Hodor, hold the door. One of them was something that would be in the very final episode. So he's like, all right, guys, two things. Number one, Hodor is really saying, hold the door. He time traveled. It's a whole thing. We'll talk about it in a minute. The other one is that this series is actually about incest.
That's the main...
Like in a good way. Like pro-incest.
We're promoting incest.
We're promoting incest. It's the only thing that will save us. Save it for the last episode, guys.
God, I hope that's not it. I really hope that's not it.
Now, getting back to Bran and Jaime, I have a feeling that Bran is going to be pretty cool with what I don't see him being mad at Jaime.
No, I was sitting on the couch and said he's gonna say thank you.
Probably he has transcended emotions.
Right. He just is like, yeah, that's great. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I knew you'd be here. How is Cersei?
Can you imagine Jaime right now, though? Jaime has...
Right.
First of all, Jaime, I think, thought he was dead.
Yes.
And he's sitting there. And I can't even imagine, like, oh, I threw him out a window.
Yep.
Should probably be thrown out a window myself. Like,
he and Theon, probably the two best character arcs in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on this episode?
Should we go over predictions for deaths for next week?
Sure. So we did watch the previews people picked up on. It looks like we're going to get the Battle of Winterfell Part 2.
Right. So if we get the Battle of Winterfell, deaths.
Grey Worm is dead.
Done.
Thank God. Missandei is probably... No, she'll live.
God, I hope not. It's just going to be a mournful thing. And
just let them die in each other's arms.
Well, she hasn't been advising her as much because now she speaks the language. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so
it's like,
she's not. To be honest,
she's not. Translate for you, Daenerys?
She's not a useful character anymore. She doesn't know the people. She doesn't know.
No.
And so, just because she's run out of usage, they might just kill her off.
That's true. That's true.
Is next week the week that we get the Arya running through the hall scene from the preview?
I didn't watch any.
You didn't watch the preview?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
No, very intentionally. I've avoided everything.
Oh my. We might have to watch it just...
No, I'm not going to watch it. No, I'm not going to watch the previews.
Well, there's... In the preview, Arya looks pretty much like she's like... Never mind. I don't even want to spoil it for you. I'm sorry.
Well, it's fine. Panicked running through the halls.
Panicked, blood-ridden, running through the... Panicked. Like, panicked, frightened.
Right.
Like, not Arya running through the halls.
I could see that being next week. I don't see Winterfell surviving. I mean, it would be very anticlimactic if, the Night King's army shows up at Winterfell and they beat them. So it's not going to happen.
I am interested to see what is going on in the crypts.
Yeah, because I didn't watch the preview, but I did pick up.
I didn't watch
it.
I mean, there's nothing in the preview about it really, but just everything in the books about these crypts.
That's true.
And no other castle do they talk about crypts.
Right.
This is the only one, and they're heated by some sort of geyser that heats the walls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's something special about Winterfell. And we have yet to see what is special
I can buy that.
I think that next week we're going to see what's special.
Right.
Whether or not we like what's special about it is one thing or another. But I think that we're going to figure that out.
Right.
Are there any major character death next week?
Outside of Grey Worm, I could see
Tormund,
or Brienne or somebody like that. I mean, if you're talking major character deaths like Tyrion, Dany, Jon, Arya, Sansa, I don't think Varys yet.
Not yet.
But, I think your top tier character deaths you're not going to see till the last week.
The last week?
Last couple weeks.
No, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet, what's the over-under? 3? 3, I know the name of their character deaths.
If Theon shows up at Winterfell in time for the battle, he'll die.
It's Theon, Grey Worm, Tormund, maybe.
Yeah.
Alright.
Theon, Grey Worm, somebody from the Tormund barrack, Night's Watch.
Right, the Eddie or whatever his name is.
Whatever the guy's name is. Yes. All right. 5 more to go.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, so am I. And for now, I'm Ben DeBono.
And I'm Kirkwald.
And this is the Sci-Fi Christian. Goodbye. The Rise of the Skywalker.
Fuck that shit. Jesus.
Bringing back Palpatine.
The bringing back Palpatine. Like, why?
Because because
they ran out of...
a creatively bankrupt franchise. They have nothing. They have absolutely nothing.
Alright, we created the perfect trilogy. Now what?
Right.
I don't know. Nothing.
Star Wars is a very small story about a family that fights the evil empire, and that's it. That's it. It's just a hero's journey story. That's it. And people are like, well, there's a whole galaxy out there. No, there isn't. It's like, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a story I just made up. Okay. So once there was a man named Bob, and Bob lived in an intergalactic empire that spanned thousands of galaxies. And one day Bob slipped on the ice and died. Hit his head and died. The end. So, well, there's a whole galaxy of stories out there. And no, there isn't. Just because I said that there's this whole galaxy out there doesn't mean I created a world capable of sustaining a galaxy worth of stories. It's the same thing with Star Wars.
I don't know. Some of those seem pretty convincing.
Just, man, what crap. What absolute crap. I mean... I hated The Last Jedi, but what you're going to wind up with is that you have the first movie in this trilogy, Force Awakens, which is just a retread of everything that came before. Right. Then you have Last Jedi that was just determined to throw out everything Force Awakens did, and now you're going to have Rise of the Skywalker that's just determined to throw out everything Last Jedi did. Yes! Yeah. It's just, what absolute crap. And we have another, the Death Star's in it again.
That's it. Oh,
did you watch the trailer?
I watched it. Well, but I had kids running around.
Yeah, there's a shot where you see like the wreckage of one of the first Death Stars.
Really?
Yes.
Can't do it.
We didn't even make it out of the first trailer before we got a Death Star in this one. And what does the Rise of the Skywalker even mean? It's like, is it a Viagra?
Skywalker?
It's the Skywalker.
So Rey is going to be the Skywalker?
Yes.
Even though we were just told that her parents weren't, but really
we were told they were, and now we're told they weren't, and now we're going to be told they were again. It's so dumb.
Mark Hamill is on Twitter just ripping it to shreds right now.
Right, well, what crap. Stick to the 3 good Star Wars movies. Anyway, your children are crying. So, goodbye everyone.
Goodbye. That sounds terrible. Letting her cry.